Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It is exactly 8:57 a.m. We are now joined by Chairperson of eThekwini Secure, Imtiaz Syed. We'll talk with him for about 10 minutes or so regarding situations around crime, I should imagine, and obviously ratepayers and our rights. I think that's an important issue as well. So let's cross over to Imtiaz Syed. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for having me.
Lovely to have you. I see this is a weekly feature and an important one. It keeps us up to speed as to what is happening all around the country, particularly in eThekwini in Durban. Imtiaz, I've picked up on certain of the groups that I'm on that there's a huge problem with cars, being spiked in certain areas in and around Durban, very specifically the Spaghetti Junction. What on earth is happening there, and how are you guys mitigating it, apart from making people aware not to travel late at night, which is sometimes just not possible? How do we go forward on this issue?
I think to put it all into just one answer, it's quite difficult. The first thing we need to understand is it's the duty and obligation of the government to protect its citizens. But being said, it's now come a time where citizens themselves need to start protecting themselves in all spheres of society, and that service delivery included. Now, what we found, and this is not something that's very new, but it's something that's been there for quite a while. When we have on the freeways and these major M roads, where there's informal settlements close to the road, we find generally late at night, being something from 9 o'clock going right up till the morning, that there are certain individuals and criminals, wherein they would place rocks and boulders onto the street or onto the freeway, wherein you'd obviously meet an accident or puncture your tire, and that's when they would come by and then rob you. What have we done to mitigate that risk? Obviously, through the CPFs, and the one that we speak about comes under my station area, which is Mayville, wherein we ask for regular patrols and we ask for all of these things to happen. But the major issue around SAPS and notwithstanding that it's not an excuse, right? Something needs to be done from the side of government. But to say that they've always got no vehicles and all of that, that's always the case. So what we've done as eThekwini Secure is that we do have the Zello channel, and we've now mobilized the tow truck industry, the ambulance industry, security companies, and the like. So if you're stuck anywhere on the freeway or something like that, you go onto our Zello channel, you tell us where you're stuck, and if we find that it's really a problematic area, then obviously voluntarily CPF members or security companies or even tow trucks come out to then assist you. And that's really all we can do at this time. But we've had many incidents. I think just looking back in the past financial year, we probably had about 10 incidents just around the Spaghetti Junction area. And even just last night, I got a call about an accident there as well.
And sadly, the CPF and all of these voluntary your organization itself, the guys are actually putting their lives on the line. They're at risk. They're at high risk. They do this out of the goodness of their heart and wanting to do the right thing, but they're also very vulnerable, are they not?
No, absolutely. But I think, Julie, something for us to understand is that the climate of the country dictates that we as citizens need to start standing up and start doing things for ourselves. Because really, if we sit back and just rely on government, yes, obviously we do sit on the platforms wherein there's those engagements and those partnerships that's supposed to be there. But if we don't start taking things into our own hands, and I'm not speaking about vigilantism, I'm talking about self-protect and self-service, wherein we will be left destitute. I mean, I was out at Maritzburg yesterday, and there's an entire area right on top of Raystop, wherein an informal settlement has just been built in the middle of a middle-income suburb. And all of those properties, they face detrimental crime every single day. I hear stories of people walking into their homes whilst they're there, 5, 6 guys, just removing the TV and walking out just blatantly. And what do we do and how do we move? And I spoke to that community and I said, what is it that you guys are doing? Why is it that you don't have security? Why is it that you all haven't mobilized and all of those things? So it's important for us to understand that the climate of the country dictates that we start standing up and we start speaking up about things that are affecting us unitedly and collectively.
Inshallah. Let's talk about another very important issue, and that is regarding mobilizing ratepayers associations. I know you've done it very successfully, in your region, but what about the
Mm.
rest of the country, and
Yes.
how this will serve us well if we do go this route?
There's something that we need to speak about when it comes down to emerging markets. And let me say this in the context of business, right? Currently, there's a pull towards pro-economic development or pro-poor economic development across the country. And that speaks to something that's now being played out within the city of eThekwini. Currently, we have 600 informal settlements. And yesterday, the mayor in his State of the City address was quite proud to say that we provide services of electricity, water, and sanitation, which is cleansing and solid waste, to these 600 informal settlements, which basically is 60% of the city's inhabitants for free. Now, the question we raise, and this is something where people outside of council or outside of the political environment do not understand that within eThekwini, 73% of the operational expenditure comes from the person that has a consolidated bill, meaning the ratepayer. Now, if we speak to this and the city says that they spend and they give services to 60% of the population for free, the question now arises is who contributes towards the monetary value of those services? And it ultimately comes down that we as ratepayers contribute 73% of that operational expenditure towards providing that free service. And that's a great cause for concern, because currently we're looking at major increases, 8.6% on rates, something like 21% on electricity, and all of these things. But when you quantify it and you put it down and you analyze it, you'd realize that there's a major injustice being done. And I'll give you a very simple example, is that if we as a city spend 300 million rand a month towards electricity paid towards ESCOM, and we then give away some of those services for free at 60%, remember, 73% of the 60% of the 300 million rand comes from you and I and from our pockets. And that's the reality of the situation that we're facing on the ground. So it's time for ratepayers to start standing up and start assessing exactly where they are and what is their mandate and how do they go forward. Now, we've seen across the board that many ratepayers associations form themselves by a few people getting together and saying, we are ratepayers association. This is highly incorrect. We need to exactly have mandates. Now, we've been speaking about this for a while, and we've been informing ratepayers association. Remember, I can't really be a chair for ratepayers association because I am a councillor as well. Now, what we need to understand about ratepayers is that we have wards, and within those wards, there's voting districts. Within those voting districts, there's differentiation based on the economy of the area, the suburb, the affluency of the area, and all of these things. Now, if you take all ratepayers and put them into one, you're not really going to get ahead because you can't really identify and get down to the problems that a particular suburb or a particular community serves. So what we're calling for is that ratepayers associations be formed per voting district. That's number one. And when you call a ratepayers meeting, ensure that everyone that comes to the meeting has, in fact, a consolidated bill, so that you, in fact, have that information to say that we quantify and this ratepayers association contributes towards the municipality XYZ amount of rand value per month. And we want to know, as ratepayers, what is it that the city is supposed to provide us on the streets by which those rates are derived. And this is very important for us to put that into context. Once we have that into context, we can get a clear understanding and hold the city accountable. Right now, the ratepayers associations are all over the place, and they say they represent, but the question is, who do they represent and what is their mandate? And that is very important for us to understand.
Finally, Imtiaz, what you say makes perfectly good sense, but are we able to hold the government accountable for issues around what you've just highlighted, that the informal settlements are getting free services, and if you and I don't pay our accounts, we get cut off immediately, and
Absolutely.
we know what our infrastructure is looking like. It's decaying. So where's the money going to then? We're paying the rates and taxes, etc., but we don't see anything for it.
I think, Julie, where we've lost it as citizens is that we don't tend to compartmentalize our issues. We look at the bigger picture and we just speak about corruption just generally, and we just go on and on. I'm saying in no uncertain terms, that we need to compartmentalize our issues. We firstly need to look inwards as to say, okay, what is it that affects us right outside our doors, and how do we attack that? Now, information is key here. If we have the correct information, then only can you hold someone accountable. We cannot just be saying that, okay, the police is supposed to provide safety and security. How are they supposed to do that? And what are the platforms of engagement by which we're supposed to be holding them accountable? And that's your CPF, correct? Now, when it comes down to the city and service delivery, we can sit all day long and speak on WhatsApp groups and do whatever we want until we get together in a meeting, in any platform, and say, these are the people we represent. This is the amount of money we spend monthly on rates, and we give towards the eThekwini municipality, or any municipality for that matter. We want to know in no uncertain terms, what do you as a city give us back? And if that is a pointed question we are asking, then there needs to be a relatively fair answer to that question, because you're giving them something to say. We're looking at, for example, Brickfield Road in the Overport area. These are the ratepayers of Brickfield Road. They spend and they give us as a city 21 million rand a month. What services do we provide them? That's a pointed question. It's not some ambiguous statement that we're making that there is no service delivery. And when we discover that there is, in fact, not enough service delivery happening, and if the city comes back and say, okay, at least 10% of your rate is supposed to be spent on the streets by which it's derived, and I'm giving you a hypothetical example of this, is that then we can now hold them accountable by saying there is a body that exists within this particular street or this area, and we are saying that you have not delivered those services. Then only can we take them to court, because it's now evidence-based. It's not hypothetical. It's not some example that we're giving. It's not some ambiguous statement. You're giving them a real thing. This is how much we give you. This is what you don't deliver. We're going to take you to court. It's as simple as that. And I'll give you this. Any service provider, if you go to a service station, you ask them for 200 rand worth of fuel. And if they tell you we're giving you 200 rand worth of fuel and they give you 150 rand, are you going to stand for that? Why do we as citizens stand for that? The city is there as a government organization. I get it. But remember, they are there mandated to provide a service by elected officials and officials that are employed within the city. They are supposed to deliver that. We need to separate also the political climate from the officials. The officials are accountable to the citizenry, and that is very important for us. And also the misconception of the fact that PR councillors exist but really don't do anything. We as citizens need to find out through the Speaker of Council or any municipality, who is the PR councillor that has adopted our ward, and start speaking to those PR councillors, get them involved, and start pushing the agendas of ratepayers. Because I tell you now, in no uncertain terms, government is not pushing our agenda. They have a pro-poor agenda, and that is just going to make our entire country unlivable for those people that pay.
And on that note, then, very, very strong views, which obviously we need to adhere to. Let's leave it there till the next time. As always, you continue doing the amazing work that you are doing there. And let's hope people follow suit. Have a wonderful rest of a lovely long weekend. Till the next time, Assalamu alaikum to you.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That was Imtiaz Syed. He's the chairperson of eThekwini Secure. Of course, this is a regular feature with him every Thursday morning this time. Let's move on then at 10 minutes past 9 o'clock to Zai Jadward for Not the 9 o'clock news.